Good evening and welcome to round 8 at the Rex Maze Classic of our 1978 USAC Championship. Coming to you from Wisconsin State Fair Park and, unfortunately for me in the booth, from a 30 degrees Celsius Sweden, which in Fahrenheit would be in the high 80s to low 90s, so it's a little bit hot here for me, but we'll do our best with this. Really good to have all of you with us here for this event. Nice to see you here, Brett, and Berlin, of course. Let's just try to find my way around all these settings here. As we mentioned, it's the Wisconsin State Fair Park, which is a 1 mile short oval, and we'll be going for 150 laps, equaling, obviously, 150 miles. So compared to the immense length of the 500-miler last time out at Indianapolis, this'll be sort of a walk in the park. Pardon the slight hiccup there. Noticed I dropped a few frames. Hopefully no issues for you all here watching. And talking about the, what I suppose, short nature of the track, we have the 150-mile point structure, point scheme, which means, compared to the 1,000 points scored last time out, the winner will only, within quotation marks, bring home 300 points in this event. Second scoring 240, third 210, fourth 180, fifth 150, sixth 120, seventh 90, and then it looks to be dropping by 15 points down for each position down to 12th, and then 13th to 16th will score 8 points, 17th to 20th 6, 21st to 24th 5, and I believe we have 27 cars this evening, so 25th to 27th will score 3 points towards the championship. And looking at the championship, it was quite transformed after the Indy 500, which Cesariusz Szlapinski won, and therefore jumped from, I believe, 7th or 8th in the standings, all the way up to 1st, on 1,726 points. 80 points behind him is the man who finished in the top 3 as well, in the form of Adam Hackman, who lies second on 1,646 points. A third 126 points behind is Jason White on 1,520. The unfortunate retiree David Yates from the last time event and the championship leader heading into the Indy 500 is sitting in 4th. Why is my internet so crap today? Pardon the foul language. Is 4th on 1,388 points, and then the, what I suppose you could call the surprise of the championship altogether, Brian Yannick, driving one-off cars, especially the older Eagles, is 5th on 1,188 points. So, even with 1,000 points scored last time out, the championship is still very, very close indeed. And with the 150-mile race, we also have slightly different fuel regulations for this race, where the drivers will be allotted 2 full tanks of fuel for the race, which will equal roughly 302 liters, or about 80 gallons. And as always in this series, drivers violating this limit will be disqualified post-race. And let's see, okay, we have about a minute left in qualifying. And obviously we also have, as always, Jason's keys to the race, courtesy of Jason White, who is currently trying to qualify the car. Looks like he is preliminary 5th on the grid, with David Yates actually on pole, but still a few drivers to set times here. The keys to the race goes as follows. Set your car up with a goal of keeping the heat in the right front and right rear tires, even as we are actually joined here by Jason White, I'm fairly sure. Good evening, Jason.
Yeah. Good evening. You on the keys to the race, I assume?
Yep, just going through the first one, which, as I mentioned, keep the heat in the tires, right front, right rear, as even as possible. Presumably to keep the wear and the grip as consistent as possible.
No, that's not why. Although, that's something that's, of course, important. But the main reason that you want to keep the heat in the right front and the right rear even as possible is because if either of them gets higher than the other one significantly, you got huge problems. Specifically, if the right front starts to overheat, you get understeer, and it becomes a vicious cycle. A lot of people are experiencing this right now. You should be able to tell early on in the race how many people have actually spent time on the track getting their setups in order and who have not, because it's easy to get the car to do quick laps around here for a couple of laps, but after the heat starts to build, if the car's not set up properly, you find that imbalance very quickly. If the temperature gets too high in the right front, then it starts to push, and so you have to work harder to make it go through the turn, which in turn makes the tire get even hotter, and it pushes more, which means then you have to work even harder, and so it just becomes a vicious cycle, and next thing you know, the car's undrivable. And the only way to cure the problem is to slow down and let the tire cool down. Some people are having the opposite problem right now, where they have oversteer. The right rear tire is overheating, is hotter than the front one, and they have to basically, walk on thin ice the whole way around the track. So neither condition is desirable. You want to try to get the car as balanced as possible, and that comes about by way of spring adjustments and sway bar adjustments, and working the tools that you have in the car during the race, if that helps. So yeah, that's what a lot of people are going to be struggling with today. And if you see people slipping out of the groove after the first 10 or so laps or 12 laps, you'll know that they have a significant problem.
So it could be a race of two evils for a few drivers then.
Yep.
That's very interesting. And with it being a short track and the corners being quite tight, I suppose you could say, it might be preferable to use both the brake and throttle, i.e. left foot brake, to keep the boost pressure up so that you always have the drive coming off the turns.
Yeah, I'm basically, it's hard to maintain that balance when you have a car in front of you. Sometimes you're focusing on that car so much you forget to do it, but I'm maintaining pressure on the throttle basically the whole way around and grazing the brake as I go into the corners. And this does two things. One, it maintains boost pressure. The other thing it does is it keeps the car moving smoothly. If you have to back out of the throttle and lose all the boost pressure, when you try to get it back, you run the risk of snapping the car, on the exit. So, there's a couple of reasons why it's a good idea to keep your foot on the throttle and balance with the brake as you go in.
For sure. And the final point to this race and keys to this race, I suppose, goes hand in hand with the tire situation. Drive your own race, i.e. don't try to battle too hard early on if you don't need to.
Yeah, it's not a smart move because, well, a couple of things. One, if you engage in too hot of a battle early on, you could find yourself in one of those imbalanced tire temperature situations I talked about. The other thing is, you know, if you get too engaged in what's going on, you may not enter the corner at the right point. You may get the car out of shape. One thing you definitely don't want to do is change direction in these cars suddenly, and you can do that if you're distracted and then suddenly you go, oh shoot, you know. It's I mean, I wanted to have my tire temperature menu up for the entire race so I could look at it, but then on the other hand, I'm like, I really should be looking out in front of me, not at that. So now that I've got a car that I feel pretty balanced with, I may just turn around, just like get rid of that menu, just so I can focus on what I'm doing.
And
But,
maybe check, I don't know, every 5-10
every
laps.
now and then, yeah,
Yeah.
just check it. But this is going to be a very, very tough race. This is, I mean, we had a few people drop out prior to this race because I guess they didn't have time to practice. Actually, I mean, speaking as a racer, I don't mind because it's going to mean less cars out there. It's a very short oval. We're going to be lapping cars very quickly. Before you know it, we'll start coming up on the back of the field, so it's going to be a hectic time very quickly here. So you should probably expect one stop in this race around midway.
I imagine so. I suppose there might be some drivers trying a 2-stop with like lesser fuel in the tank to try and ease the tire situation.
That would be that'd be an interesting gamble. I'm not going to go that route because I've done the test. I've run 75, 76 laps with the tires I have on it, and the car survives. And I actually have pretty consistent lap times with it, so I figure, okay, it's not worth trying the 2-stop because track position's paramount on a short oval like this. If you make a stop under green that you don't need to make, you lose a couple laps easily. So,
indeed, I especially remember when we raced Phoenix in I think it was the 73 iteration of the series, where it wasn't Simon, it was Alan Forster who pitted under pretty much every yellow, and all of a sudden, end of the race, holy shit, he's in the lead.
Yeah, I
With
mean,
track position because everyone else had to pit late on in the race while he had fuel enough to go.
I suppose that's a possibility, but the other, I mean, definitely if we have an early yellow, the guys at the back, they'd be well advised to top off just to extend their stop a little further. But truth of the matter is, I wouldn't do that strategy if I could help it, because then you're getting sent back to the end of the serial scoring every single time, and then you have to work through those cars again, and that's just more opportunities to get into an accident. So I don't know. If it were me, I mean, I'm starting 5th in this race, and I'm relieved to have. I think I've got Mikey and David and Janik in front of me, and one other. I think Fredrickson. Those are all really fast guys, and I'm counting on them to do well on the start and not have an accident. So I'm feeling pretty. I mean, that's helpful for me. I'm gonna be less stressed out. But for those who are starting way back, like in the teens or in the low 20s. It's going to be really, really just picking through the first few laps, just trying to survive. Because we ran a race on this track with the 74 mod last year, and Drexler spun in front of me, and I had absolutely nowhere to go. I was just boxed in on the right-hand side, and he was down low, and that was it. I just ran into him. So, I mean, those are the kind of incidents you want to try to avoid, and the best way to avoid them is to be up front.
Indeed. And as you've been talking about that, we can see how hectic this track is with traffic. It's absolutely tremendous. Like, my
even
God.
with how wide this track is. I mean, you'll see probably 3-wide racing occasionally on here. When people are, I know when we had the 74 series on this track, the first lap, the end of it, we were 3-wide for the lead, which was incredible. But there's going to be some of that here, but it's you know, it's amazing how you can also run out of room on a track like this that's so incredibly wide. So we'll see what happens.
Indeed. Let's see if we can actually find Ray Riddle is out on track, and it looks like he's coming through the final turn. Let's see if he's actually going to do a lap here. He is, so let's have a look at this 1 mile oval here.
here he comes into turn one, and you can see how he turned in very early there. He's getting this wide and actually putting his wheel under the painted line there. That's a surprising thing, because it flattens out, and I'm surprised he's able to make it work now down the back straightaway. And you can see how early he's diving into the turn there. Now he's balancing the throttle, coming off the turn.
Oh dear.
Yeah, good evasive action there, but it's very much, I mean, you're not helped at all by the banking here. This is essentially a flat oval. You have 9 degrees of banking in the turn, same as Indianapolis, but it doesn't help you get through the corner. You have to, a lot of it is manhandling the car and finesse. So much of this race is going to be determined based on driving technique and finesse, rather than whether you have a Cosworth or not.
And it sort of witnessed as well with the way the top times are looking right now on the server, with Ray Riddle, obviously a Cosa in the Lola chassis, but then we have Mikey Grems in one of the old Eagles with a Offenhauser in the back, and then we have David Yates in the, I think it's a Wildcat, is it? I never remember if it's...
He's in a Wildcat, yeah.
I never remember which of the Wildcats and which of the Lightnings are which. I believe he has the... Is it the Drake or is it the SGD this round?
No, it's SGD this week. The top car in that in the warm-up now is a Cosworth. Then you have an Offenhauser with Grems, and then 2 SGDs, and then another Offenhauser, and then a Foyt. So there's only two V8s there setting the top 6 times there, and then you've got more Offenhausers as you go down. Juha's is in the Cosworth. So I don't think that the 8-cylinder boys are going to have as big an advantage here as they did at Indy. It's going to be more of a handling race and a driver finesse race for sure.
Indeed, and I suppose the grunt of the Offenhauser-based engines is a bit of a fortunate thing to have around here.
Yeah, the low end power band is helpful for those engines for sure. All right, I gotta run now, but I'll talk to you maybe after the race if I'm around. So
yep, best of luck, Jason. I hope you have a good event.
Thank you.
User disconnected from your channel.
So, just for me to be able to do a quick... Oops. There we go. Just going to have a quick little fix of the sounds, because I noticed the engine sounds is seeming a little bit high this evening. So I'm just going to have a quick alteration of those, which is from an earlier event last weekend. There we go, that should be that bit sorted. So, as Jason mentioned, Ray obviously with a Cosa, but then Mikey and the Tibben Gielhausen Eagle Offenhauser, Yakes in the Wildcat SGD, Fredriksson, with a bit of a moment there with that's the AMC of Fitch. That was a bit unfortunate timing. But he's currently sitting 4th for Pat Patrick, and Ryan Yannick for Finn Levatis in 5th. So Cesarus Slapinski with the Foyt Ford in 6th. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. But I would probably hazard to guess that anyone in the top 15 in that session will be in with a shot here. Couple of things to go over. Dave Miller is driving the Rolla Volstedt Enterprises Volstedt, number 17 for this event, as Angel May unfortunately didn't quite have enough time to get comfortable with the car and track combination. And K.O. Michiels have picked up the number 29 car that is usually driven by Petr Hlavac as a one-off car for this event, and I believe that would be... no, we also have Mike Olsen driving for Grand King Agashanian for this event, one of the old Eagles. I believe that is. I don't think that is one of the... That is not the Dragon, that is only for the 500 milers. But I believe that is everyone that is in for a short one in this, or one race start here. So David Yates takes pole position for Pat Patrick Racing. Brian Yannick lines up second, amazing qualifying from him. Mikey Graham's third with Jakob Fredriksson fourth. Jason White in fifth with Madla Sina sixth. 7th for Cesare Slapinski with 8th for Adam Hackman. 9th for Ray Riddall with 10th for Juha Boss. 11th Jules Bouchard with 12th Jason Whited. 13th for Mike Olsen with 14th for Luciano Roja. David Saber lines up 15th with Jason Fitch in 16th. 17th for Dana Schurrer with 18th for Bruno Chacon. 19th for Alan Sander with 20th Keomi Keels. 21st for Greg Dallacella. 22nd for Raul Jareb, 23rd for August Watring, and 24th for Dave Miller, the final qualifier of this race. So we have 3 no starters in this race by the looks of things. But yeah, we are seeing the safety car head in, so any moment now the race will be underway. As the green flag is out and the race is underway, and it looks like David Yates will be able to hold on to the lead going into turn 1. Oh, but a little bit wide. Looks like he'll hold on anyway, so Yates takes first with Fredriksson actually romping up into second place off the start, with what looked like Yannick holding on to third though. Oh, a little bit wide again for Yates. I wonder if that's already trouble for him with the understeer in that car. And that's one of the black cars that's scraping the wall. As I noticed, August Watring has had a good start. So end of lap 1, David Yates still in the lead with Fredriksson second, Yannick third. Grams in fourth with Matla Sina, who probably was the one scraping the wall, in fifth. Cesare Slapinski sixth, Boss seventh, Hackman eighth, White ninth, and Ray Riddall currently rounding out the top 10 with Jason Whited, who could also have been the car slightly scraping the wall. It looks like everyone more or less wants to take it nice and easy in this opening part of the race, just trying to get into grips with their cars and tires and get up to speed. Oh, as I say that though, Jason Fitch looks up the inside of Jules Bouchard, but nothing comes of it there. Dave Miller already up to 16th, so that's a fantastic start for him in the old Volstedt. But really nice to see. This is one of the tracks where the Volstedt could come quite good, as it has one of the Offenhauser engines in the back powering it. As we can see, they're actually attacking and going past Luciano Roja, so up to 15th for Dave. Although right behind him is August Watring trying to find a way past as well. I know August wasn't feeling too confident coming into this event, but I hope the Indiana man will be able to do well anyway. Bruno Chacon currently 18th with Mike Olsen in 19th. Raul Jareb. Oh, there's someone off! Oh no, that's Jason Fitch! Oh dearie me, the AMC already off the track. That's very unfortunate. He had a fantastic Indy 500. But it looks like, oh, he dove up the inside of Jules Bouchard and unfortunately couldn't quite keep the tight line, and contact was made, and off into the outside wall he goes. Very good job though on creeping to the pits without that rear wing. That's very, very difficult to drive without. So that'll take a bit of a while for him to get there. Whereas David Saber looks to be off as well. Whatever happened here? Is that a disconnection possibly? That definitely looks like that could have been a disconnection of some kind. Yep. Oh, he's back. Okay, so just a bit of glitches with the way of the dives, as it looks like there's already traffic for the leaders. As Watring and Miller looks to be working together here to get up the grid, which is nice to see, as there's Jason Fitch now finally getting to the pits. As Watring now dives up the inside of Dave Miller. It looks like he will have that position done and dusted for now. Well, as I say that though, Dave Miller gets a fantastic run off the corner. And look at that, all the way up to the inside of Jos Bouchard as well. So Dave Miller up into 13th. And keeping it low enough to be able to hold off Jos Bouchard there. Really nicely done. As we can see here, some lap traffic. That looks like David Saber clearly struggling with that McLaren here tonight. As Jos Bouchard is looking at his Penske chassis comrade in Hackman. As Mikey Grems dives up the inside of what looks to be Fredriksson. Brian Yannick up to 3rd, Slapinski up into 2nd. So David Yates holds on to the lead, and a 4.5 second lead at the moment. What a start he's had. And here comes Mikey Grems attacking Yannick as well. That looked like a really good exit for Grems, but no room for him to do anything with it. When it looks like Juha Bos was able to make it past Hackman as well. When Martin Lassina under attacked by Ray Riddle. And I'm fairly sure Ray will be able to make it right here. As I say that though, he gets a bit of a push. That'll take probably half a lap unless he gets a really good run off. Looks like he did. So that should be position done and dusted. And it is. Another nice pass right there. It looks like Watring has had a bit of a moment. He's dropped back a position or two. As Miller is still in 13th, but now chased by Bruno Chacon in the second of the AJ Foyt Gilmore Racing Coyotes. Jereb following him with Olsen in 16th, Watering down to 17th with Bouchard and Rocha for close company. Greg Dalcella currently 20th with Santo in 21st. David Saber still holding on in 22nd with Kay McKeels in the pits, and it looks like that's possibly a retirement. It is, so that's very unfortunate. Let's see if we can possibly find out what happened to him. Oh, looks like an off somewhere. Oh dear. Looks like he hit the wall. Also another pass position on him trying to get past Jules Bouchard. Understeer, contact side by side, and a hard impact with the outside wall. That's an understandable retirement for him as well, unfortunately. So as we can see, it's not easy to pass on this track. You really need to be up alongside before you get to the entry to the turn. There's Raul Jereb, I believe, diving for the pit lane. As Slapinski in second still, but with Mikey Grems for close company. Oh, it looks like Mikey Grems had a good run off the corner. But not able to do anything with it right now. You have still in a fight with Adam Hackman. Hackman taking a position now. Fredriksson down to 7th with Ray Riddle in 8th. Jason White still holding on to the top 10 position in 9th at the moment. Martin Lassina currently in 10th, but closely followed by Whitehead and Dana Schurer. And Bruno Chacon up to 13th, Dave Miller down to 14th. And now looks like Mike Olsen wants to have a bit of a word with Dave about that position. Let's see, David Yates still holding on to the lead here, now by 5 seconds ahead of Mikey Grems. So he's gotten past and pulled away from Cesare Schlapinski in the Coyote. Brian Yannick currently in 4th, with Adam Hackman up into 5th. Juha Bors in 6th, about a second behind. I wonder if the tires are starting to show their hand here. As we can see, Ray Riddall up into 7th, so he's gotten past Jakob Fredriksson. So it looks like Ray Riddall has a very good race car here tonight. Let's hope he has a good event. He's had a good race car in a couple of previous events, but had a misfortune befall him. But it's nice to see him do well so far in this event. Just almost 22 laps into this 150 lap race. It looks like Fredriksson is currently under a bit of an attack from Jason White, so let's jump on board with Jakob here and look back at Jason and see what Mr. White can do about the Pat Patrick racing driver ahead of him. It sounds like Fredriksson is actually using a very different technique to the one Jason White was talking about, as we're now on board with Jason White, looking up ahead of him and his car, looking at Fredriksson, where Fredriksson was coasting very hard into the corner and slowing down and then going on the throttle and using the grunt of that 4-cylinder engine, while Jason sounds like he's constantly on the throttle, but now he has an opportunity. Up the inside he goes towards the exit. Let's see if he had a good enough run off the corner. Not quite. Fredriksson holds on. That's more or less, I think, what White will have to do here. Use a pick in traffic, or really try to set Fredriksson up with a move somewhere and then try to get back at it. Here he comes up the inside. Wow! That's a very different mid-corner speed from White compared to Fredriksson, as White jumps up to 8th ahead of Fredriksson in 9th. Jason White is now up to 10th, with Dana Schurer right behind him, and Marta Lasina just behind her. It looks like 2 lapped cars to contend with for these 3 drivers. And it's interesting to see that Schurer looks to be running what I suppose you would call a high line. And if there's anyone to look at for interesting and possibly useful lines, that is Dana. She proved in previous seasons that we've run that she is very, very good at finding alternate lines that works very well indeed. And here she comes up the inside of White, going into turn 1. Let's see if she can make the move and get into the top 10. Not quite this time around. As Olsen is up in the 14th, Dave Miller has dropped to 15th. So another position back. Watring up into 16th with Roja in 17th. Bouchard in 18th with Greg Delacella in 19th. Oh dearie me, and a bit of contact there with Lasina. That looked a little bit dangerous, and it looks like that was not for position with Jareb. Alan Santo currently 20th with Sabre in 21st, and Jareb currently last car running and 22nd. Oh, here looks to be a good battle between the Lightning in the hands of Roja and what I think is one of the McLarens in the series, in the hands of August Watring for this particular event. Oh, it looked like he slightly struck the wall then. So looks like he is struggling with understeer at the moment. Running quite high, and looks like he's putting quite a bit of wheel into the car as well. Oh yeah, that's a very, very high amount of wheel he's putting into the car. And it's clearly not wanting to turn well for him. Or even having to go down gears to try and get the car turned. Oh dear, looks, I'd assume, yep, he's heading for the pits for either a pit stop or repairs. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. And it looks like August is actually parking the car, so clearly feeling that is all he can muster in this particular event. And, live on to fight in future events instead. Oh, looks like the battle is on here between Schlapinski and Hackman. And looks like Hackman was able to make the move as well. That's very impressive indeed. And let's just have a...
User joined your
Oh, it
channel.
looks like we're just now having a yellow flag. I wonder if that's... Oh, that's a two-car crash by the looks of things. Let's see if we can find him. Oh no, that's Jason White! Oh dearie me, Jason out!
Oh, that is quite a shame.
Oh dear. Oh, and he got collected by Dana Schurer! Oh no! I'm fairly sure that's Dana at least. It's either Dana or it's... no, Kay Makita's already out, so that must have been Dana Schurer. It was indeed. So both Dana Schurer currently trying to go for repairs, and Jason White definitely out of this race. Oh dear me, it looks like Dana Schurer parking the car as well. So two drivers out there with what looked like oversteer for Jason White. As in the middle of that, we're joined by the Indiana boy of August Watring. Good evening, August.
Hello, hello. How you doing, my man?
Not too bad. A little bit too hot here in Sweden at the moment, but otherwise I can't really complain. How are you doing? Despite the retirement that occurred.
Yeah, made it farther than I thought I would, so that's very good. Yeah, the car was very pushy. I had actually found a little bit of balance in the warm-up, and just thinking, all right, let's see how far we make it. And I made it, what, 34 laps? So, I'll take it as a good attempt. Track is very tricky. Cars are hard to set up. It's a struggle.
So you'd say the McLaren is a particularly difficult car to set up then? Especially for this track then, obviously.
Not really. A lot of people were talking about having issues with burning off the right front or burning off the right rear and having basically too much understeer, too much oversteer. And if you're one of the few who was able to find a balance, you could do pretty well. But if you didn't have a balance between it, it's all over the place, and you're either really understeery or you're really oversteery.
Okay.
I find that on the higher banked tracks, I do a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But that may be the car, that may just be me. I don't know. It seems like we're green flag.
Yep, the race is back underway. David Yates holds on to the lead ahead of Mikey Grams. I think there were a car or two between them, so that's a lucky break for Yates that he's able to slightly extend the lead. I noticed, I think it was Whited, Chacon, and one more car into the pits during that quick yellow. Presumably
see.
fitting some new tires there.
Yeah.
Will have been Lacina as well enter the pits there for a quick fill up or new tires.
That was quite possible. See here.
As it looks
Car
like
trying to...
looks like Chacon is actually having a very good event here, running in the top 10 at the moment for Gilmore Racing.
Yeah, trying to work
second
his way
car.
through. Yeah, trying to work his way through some of this lap traffic.
That's oh dearie me, look at that. That's a lot of cars to try and work with and around and against.
They do come fast and furious on these 1 mile ovals.
We got around Sabre there, nicely done. Let's see if he can do the same to Santo in the next corner. Maybe,
He's gonna get him
yes,
on
he
the
does.
exit.
I think
Got him on
Santo
the
slightly
exit.
lifted there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was having a hard time, really, on the exits of 2 and 4 with the push. So if he's having a pushing issue, you may have well just had to lift out of it.
Certainly possible, and I suppose this yellow will have helped anyone who had overheating tires of any description. Oh, as Bruno Chacon sneaks up the inside, what a move! Similar to Jason White early in the race, and Chacon up to 9th ahead of Martin Lacina there.
Yep, and Cezary Szlapinski just made a really nice move on Yua up the inside, trying to tackle with some lap traffic. And it seems that Szlapinski is trying to close himself down on Janik and the rest of the top 3.
Well, I think Szlapinski may have been one of those having a bit of issue with the car late on in that first green lap stint, but because he was dropping back a little bit, but clearly that yellow looks to have helped him at least for the nearest future here.
Yeah, you're quite right. It seems the car may be better on restarts, and if we have another yellow, that'd be something to take a look at.
Certainly possible, and let's see, it looks like the action is looking sorted, but Ferguson going in the middle of 2 cars.
Yeah,
Spotting them there. That was that's a bit brave and a bit of trust to the drivers you're racing with to go that direction, I'd say.
Going 3 wide is not advised.
Well, I think that's one of the beautiful things with both sim racing and the crew we have here, where you can trust pretty much every driver to have at least an idea of where you are, and therefore, if you get such a run, then you should be able to at least helpfully make it work without having to worry too much about being sandwiched if you decide to go in the middle. Although, as you mentioned, not advised, but it can be done.
It sure can be. I was definitely there on the start. I was moving up with David Miller, and had a pretty good scrap racing through the pack, and then the tires went off. I didn't want to. I mean, I was starting to go below 100 miles an hour in the turn, so I was done.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed you had a good run up the field, starting from, I think, 22nd, was it?
23rd on the last row, along with Dave Miller. We had a fun little scrap through the field, and then that was that. Got to make a couple moves around the outside, so I'll take it.
Yeah, it's often a case of, if you do retire early, at least enjoy the time you have in the race.
Yeah, it's like that was one of the things I had at Trenton. It was just it was kind of the same issue. You couldn't get a good grip with the car, and I mean, I'd like to have run better, but ran 4 laps, popped an engine, missing a shift. Away she goes.
Certainly one of those things that can happen, especially with these engines, that it can be a bit, shall we say, temperamental?
I would say they're temperamental, and It seems Adam Hackman has moved his way up into 5th around UA Boss.
He has indeed. So back up again. A bit of a lackluster restart. I know Adam has been... Oh, as my internet is definitely playing up tonight. What is going on? Has to wait for that to clear up, hopefully.
Looks like Ray Ridal might be closing down on UA as well. That or UA is slowing down. Take a look here. Yeah, he seems to be dealing something.
I'll ask you to cover for me for a little moment. I'm just going to have a quick look at my internet. What's going on there?
Righto. Alright. 50 laps down. Turned out to be a decent race. So, for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 laps, Mikey Grems has maintained the gap with David Jakes. It'll be interesting to keep eye on that. We have a duel between Jacob Fredrickson and Bruno Chacon going on right now for 8th. It's a very interesting fight as we're seeing. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. I do not have the eyes on the stream.
We are looking at it now, and I do know for a fact that Fredrickson was struggling with what looked like some kind of tire issue.
I just saw somebody. Ray Ridal's in the pits.
Oh, that's an early stop. I wonder if he's running the alternate strategy of 2 stops then.
Maybe that, or he is going to try and fuel save and make it on 1 stop till the end. Which I know Jason Fitch was talking about, hoping for a caution about, well, this time. And he said that he would have been able to make it to the end, but he has had other issues.
Quite. Well, that's a bit of a throw of the dice, wouldn't you say? Like, that's a bit. That sounds a little bit early to me.
I mean, it would have been early to me. I mean, I think the earliest I would have probably pit would have been around 60 something. You know, within 60 to 70, if not, just try and make it all the way to the end of the fuel. And see how it goes from there. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. See if that plays out for him. Maybe if it's just the tires. Who knows?
Certainly so. Just to let everyone know who's watching as well. Looks like it's just the internet in my area at the moment is a bit wonky. So we'll have to make do with what I have. So. Hopefully it'll stay relatively consistent on the stream.
Oh! Ray's got to the apron there and had a big wiggle.
That looked properly scary to me.
I was afraid myself.
Whoa!
I jumped out of my seat.
That's definitely one of those pucker moments where you go, "Holy God! I actually held on to that." I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I would not. There's multiple times I've gotten onto the apron during practice and had to step away from the computer for a moment. Let's see. It seems the field's stringing out a bit, but Mikey Grems is still right on the tail of David Jakes. This is going to be interesting coming here to the end with David Jakes and Mikey Grems. It's going to come down to a duel between these guys. I know it's very early in the race to be saying that, but that is my gut feeling.
Oh, and you have Boas heads into the pits in the meantime.
Ah, another one of the early pitters.
I wonder if the Cosworths then are able to save a bit more fuel than the Offenhauser and SGD cars are able to save.
In my experience, I was able to save a decent amount of fuel, but that was also due to being out of the gas so long around the track, dealing with understeer. So, Johan in the pits long?
Let's actually have a look. Yeah, he's still in the pits, so
He's maybe dealing with repairs. Maybe he got up in the wall.
possibly. I haven't seen him strike the wall at all, but could also be a case of the infamous in sim racing turns where you slightly scrape the wall or you make slight contact with someone, and the team thinks, well, we better straight out that panel, or we better polish that bit of the car, sort of situation. That definitely was a long stop, but it may very well have been like an empty tank and he's filled it up to the brim.
That's a normal fuel stop should almost with normal tires and fuel that should be about 20 seconds. So that was a bit longer than that.
That's definitely something we passed in, by all accounts.
Yeah,
because he was ahead of Ray before they both pitted, and he's a good lap and a half behind now, by the looks of things.
Yeah, he is definitely down the pack.
He's actually right behind Ray, so he's a lap behind.
Yeah, he's
Whoa.
Yeah, Yuan is actually 3 laps down now. So that's yeah, that was an extra long pit stop.
It's definitely a throw of the dice by both of these guys. Looking at how many laps down they are, they need a green flag stop by the leaders as well as we go further into the race.
Oh, definitely. The Yuha is going to definitely need some good green flag running to try and make up some time. Really? Seems that most everything is calmed down. Adam Hackman may be closing in on Janik. Is that what I'm seeing? It is.
So let's see where we are. There we are. Oh, indeed.
Got a nice little fight for third here.
Yep, and that's Yannick again with one of the Finlevatis Enterprises Eagle. I believe it's based on the 74 Eagle.
Maybe there are a lot of cars based on old Eagle chassis
True,
floating around.
But the way I understand it is that that's actually an Eagle 74 chassis updated to semi-modern ideas.
Yeah, that was quite common during those times. What was his name? There was a Robin Miller video talking about a guy who showed up to Indianapolis in 1980, 79 or 80 in a 72 Eagle and trying to wheel it really hard, and went out there and tried to go fast and met the wall.
Ouch.
I'll if I can find the name, I'll try and remember to say it. But during the 70s, old chassis were quite common, and I mean the Volstead chassis, a lot of those chassis were just made in the backyard of back shed of some guy's yard.
Quite. I'm quite fond of the Canyon Coyote that was around in 73, 74, and I believe 75.
Yeah, the lime green. Yeah, I love that car. I also love Mel Canyon.
I only like it because it was one of the 2 only cars I could drive in the mod when we first released the 73 iteration of USAC Racing.
Wow. Yeah, I think Mel Kenyon was racing midgets up into his 80s.
Oh, was that a bit of smoke?
Oh,
I'm not sure. That looked very much like smoke from one of these 4 cars here. Lasina, Yareb, Yannick, and...
Oh, Mikey got past Jake's.
Oh, really?
We
Wow.
we were so enamored talking about old cars that we've missed Mikey Grimm's passing David Jakes.
Oh dear, Mikey won't be happy with that, but he'll certainly be happy with leading the race, I'm sure.
Oh yes, I'd be happy with leading this race.
And I know David was another driver who was talking about slight issues with especially the front right, so I wonder if the tires are starting to hurt a little bit for him, and Mike is able to keep a slightly higher pace, and that's why he's gotten by. And look at that, Slapinski. No, that wasn't Slapinski. I thought that was Slapinski, but it wasn't. That was Brun Chacon, his teammate, running right behind him.
Yeah, that...
Oh no, Michael Olsen is out.
Oh no. Yeah, it seems he is out.
I'll have a quick look, see if I can catch what might have happened a few laps ago. Looks like it did indeed, so unfortunately not going to be able to catch that, but that's very unfortunate.
It is. Seems David Saber is still out there. I guess he's one of the few that's deciding to just deal with the understeer. Yeah.
I know he's been I suppose you could call it hit or miss, where on certain tracks he's had a really good pace in that McLaren, and other tracks where, like here, where we can see clearly a lot of understeer in McLaren, him or the car hasn't quite been as happy with the combination of car, driver and track.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, it definitely did not agree with me today, so at least he's still out there, he's still logging laps. 8 laps down now, but
indeed, that position he just gained means he scores another, I believe, 3 or 4 extra points, so
moved into 17th. Yeah, I don't have the points on, with me at the moment, but I think that is correct.
Well, he certainly scores more points with that position. That I know for certain. It's I think it's like 3 or 4 extra points. It looks like Dave Miller is in for his stop of the race. Oh no!
Oh! Did he? Oh, he hit my car! Oh no!
He locked up.
So he locked it up and spun it.
Oh dear, and trying to find his pit stall again. That's very unfortunate, but hopefully no major damage done, and he's able to tell the crew to not do any extra work, as David Yates is into the pits as well for his stop of the race. Oh, as he's trying.
Oh, he's overshot it!
Oh,
he's overshot it!
Oh, that's surprising. That's not something you usually see from David.
I'll say this, the pit entry at Milwaukee is very difficult, and it's very hard to get slowed down.
Oh, it is, but I mean, I can understand Dave having troubles being that early in the pits. But David Yates right at the end of pit lane overshooting is something I rarely, if ever, have seen him done. I think he did possibly at Mossport during one of the 2 stops there, but other than that, I very rarely seen David make that kind of mistake.
Oh, maybe he's trying to catch up a little time to Mikey here. See if you could try to make it back on the pit lane, and it bit him.
I suppose so, because here's Grems into the pits and perfectly into his pit stall.
Let's see how this plays out.
I'm fairly sure unless Mikey takes on a whole heap of fuel, his pit crew is a lot slower than David. I think Mikey should quite comfortably get out ahead. Although here comes Yates, and he's already past him.
It's going to be tight.
No, it's easy beats.
Wow. Maybe Mikey took it a little bit easy coming into the pits there.
I suppose so, but I mean, David lost a good 2-3 seconds overshooting the pit stall, so Mikey must have lost a whole heap of time getting into the pits.
Yeah. But it comes right back to it, and I mean, there's still only a second and a half between them, so this is going to be interesting. A very good fight to the end.
Indeed, and I notice the...
Oh, so Slapinski's in.
Oh, he is? That's interesting. That's probably right on schedule for him. I notice still out there, and still, by the looks of things, setting some pretty competitive lap times, is Adam Hackman in the currently fastest of the Penske's. As I say that, though, Mikey Grems just takes 4th away from... no, he doesn't. That's him passing the car. That's Slapinski in the pits he passed, right?
Yep.
But he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Mikey?
Yep, so definitely putting those new tires and extra bit of fuel to good use here.
Yeah. It seemed during the early part of the race that Mikey was just able to sit behind David Jakes and just ride it out. And later on, he was able to just sneak it by. I don't know if that was on traffic or not, but this is gonna be interesting as they are getting bogged up in all this lap traffic.
Well, I think that's better for Grems than Yates,
Oh, of course.
all things considered. And I noticed as well that Reridol is running in 10th, but he's, I think, round. Let's see if as soon as it updates here, he is 27 seconds behind Grems and Yates. So clearly that early stop didn't help him, as at least not right now. And Grems must have gotten past Yates right away when he caught up to him, because he's now ahead of him.
Yeah.
Drove up the inside into
Mikey
3,
Grimm's going around everybody. And Mikey Grimm's to the front.
Wow. That's some immense speed he has in that car, and look at the difference in that the tires make. Fredriksson, who stayed out, had nothing to give against any of them.
He did not have a lot there to give. And Mikey Grimm's, well, he's just on it.
Well, this I have noticed that Mikey's successes on ovals has been on the shorter ones, so at least that's what I think if I think back. So
he won at Trenton and he won at Mosport.
So another short oval, semi-short oval, I suppose you could call Trenton.
I mean, it's shorter than the ones that we the bigger ones, the 2 milers like Texas and Michigan, and the super speedways like Ontario and Indianapolis and Pocono. So he's making that Offenhauser work.
For sure, and I wonder if he as a driver as well yells quite well with these short ovals, because I noticed he was running it quite loose on the exit of 2 a couple of times, but also looking completely in control of that loose car situation.
Yeah, he's definitely at home here. I'll say. I mean, I like Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a great track, great town. These cars are difficult though. I think it was either Jason Fitch or Jason Whitted.
Sorry, Jules Bourgeois just had a moment going onto the grass, possibly coming out to the pits. Looks like he's got them going again. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was somebody saying, "Oh, darn, I forgot." It's okay.
Someone's told you something anyway, so...
Someone told me something, and Jules Bouchard getting really close to someone there lapping him.
That was Fredriksson by looks of things, but all is well. Fredriksson keeps on going.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Fredriksson will be pitting late and going hell for leather to try and catch back up to the leaders, or what will happen here. That's another thing where obviously the freshest tires clearly offers a lot of extra pace.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jacob pit, and we just didn't see it. I don't know, because I mean, did he pit? Because he's gonna have to pit soon. You can't go much longer than he is on fuel.
I don't think he pitted, because he was not among the bottom 3 that pitted during the first yellow, and I haven't seen him pit since either.
Interesting.
But Hackman has pitted recently, and only 9 seconds behind the current leaders, and that Penske probably works quite well. I would at least suspect works okay around here, so that could be interesting to see what happens in that regard as well.
Yeah, that will be... This is developing into quite an interesting race.
And I suppose one can't talk about good races without not mentioning the Detroit Demon, as Jason decided to call him once in a
Yannick.
time. Yannick, indeed, and the Finley Vantis Eagle. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Eagle chassis obviously is a very well balanced car, so getting it to work well around this kind of track should be decently possible to do without throwing the kitchen sink at it.
Oh, there he goes up the inside of
Whoa.
some lap traffic there. That was a good move.
That was really nice, really picking his moment. He is really getting that Eagle to go very quick indeed.
He is. I've been really impressed with his setup work and being able to get that car as far up as it is, because it honestly has no right being up there.
Well, it's one of those, I think, what ifs, if because I'm not sure who actually drove the car in real life, but I'm sort of thinking, like, if it would have been like a Mario Andretti or Sneva or Foyt, or I don't know, one of the Unser brothers. It's sort of one of those, what would they have been able to do with that Finley Vantis Eagle?
Yeah.
Like, how well would they have been able to actually get it to go?
Well, I guess it really matters about your chief mechanic. Oh, as Adam Hackman's coming in, Adam, it seems like, we're talking about Janik here. He's starting to struggle a little bit, and Adam's hounding him. Oh, as we also say that, David Jakes has closed into within half a second of Mikey Grems, as they have a little bit of clear traffic, and Jakes has a little bit of an oversteer moment.
Yeah, definitely trying hard to keep up. I wonder if he's really running his own race, or if he's actually trying to really hard to keep up, and whether that will bite him in the behind later on in this second run of the race. Or second stint of the race, I suppose I should say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I am genuinely interested to see how this plays out, because Mikey and Jakes are very well evenly matched. They're the closest guys of anyone except for, well, Adam and Janik, or Hackman and Janik. But just through the course of the run, it seems that they've been very well evenly matched.
Quite so. And I wonder if they've been working together with the cars, maybe.
I would hazard to guess.
Wow, and look at this, Chacon actually ahead of his teammate Schlapinski. I think that's the first time on strategy and merit and driving I've seen Chacon this season being ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, he's definitely putting in a good race today.
For sure. I wonder if this shorter distance is preferable for Bruno. I know he's among the older members of our racing fraternity. So I wonder if he's able to put in a bit more effort per lap in this 150-mile event compared to, say, the 500 miles at Indianapolis or Pocono next time out.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because, I mean, there's a lot more turning going on in a short track event like this than there would be, say, at Indianapolis. Because while there may be, say, like, take the 200-miler at Ontario, you got 80 laps there. 80 times 4 is, what is that, 200, no, not 240, I don't know. But you only got so many turns. There's a little bit more action on a short track is what I'm trying to say.
320.
Yeah, close. But it's there's a bit more turning, a bit more action going on. Maybe it's just that he's worked it out. He's practiced with the car. He's getting comfortable. I don't know if Schlapinski had an incident or like a slow pit stop or something, but Bruno is running a heck of a race.
For sure, and looks like he's pulling away from Schlapinski at the moment, so definitely putting in a good drive here, and whited as well in that Hoffman Auto Racing entry.
Oh yeah, the Joey Saldana car.
Definitely putting in a good run as well. I noticed this since he joined the series, he's been able to run in around the top 10, and yet again right in there, and picking up some very good points. And Ray Riddle obviously with a very good race car, but possibly the strategy not quite working in his favor tonight.
Sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Quite so, and it's again one of those things with racing and oval racing especially. I've sort of found Martin Lassina rounding out the top 10. Yet again, a nice consistent drive.
Yeah, I've been impressed
Czech.
with him. He's definitely put in a good showing today. Yuha, it seems, in 11th hasn't been able to gain much ground. Oh, as somebody's...
Oh, there is Bruno Chacon. Is he out of fuel? Has he run the car dry?
Did he forget to pit?
No, I don't think so, but maybe just running it as
just into his pit stall.
As highly possible he could run it, or he took it very, very easy going and getting towards the pit entry. We've obviously seen a few drivers having issues getting stopped for that pit stop, so maybe he found that was the case for him. Let's actually do this. Let's look at the replay and just jump on board with this car and see what's what here. I think he actually just took it really, really easy going into the pit lane there.
It almost sounded like his engine was all off coming in.
I think it was just very, very low revs, but he is back out in 10th, so still a top 10. That's very, very nice for Bruno. Actually 9th now, because Ray Riddle has been forced to pit again because he pitted so early, so it is a two-stop race for him.
It seems so. Another one of the issues of folks not having the tires, having the setup right.
Possibly.
And Hackman got past Fredrickson finally.
Yep, both of them actually got past Fredrickson.
Oh wait,
so Yannick up to third as well.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yep, Fredrickson was in third before, and both Yannick and Hackman has gotten past him.
Well, there you go.
Clearly Fredrickson struggling with the tires here.
Sento has retired.
Oh no.
Know what happened there, but I just saw the message come up.
Well, looks like he parked it in the pits for what looks like a possibly very long pit stop, and I wonder if he had contact with a wall somewhere, and that's why the car may not have been handling to his liking then. So that's very unfortunate, but he will pick up some decent points for what looked like 16th or 17th.
Seems like 17th if David Saber can continue, but he is also in the pits.
I noticed he headed in. I wonder if he may have pitted very early as well and filling her up just to make sure he makes it to the finish.
Yeah, they're just grabbing new tires because he burned off the right front.
I suppose that's also a possibility. Or maybe a likely situation rather than a possibility. As it looks like Yannick at the moment is able to hold Hackman off quite comfortably, but both of them are actually closing in on the leading duo by a second or so since last time I checked.
Yeah, they're closing.
Oh, Fredrickson back into the pits.
Oh, did he not pit yet?
He must not have pitted yet then. He's really gotten the car to go a long way.
Really go 111 laps on fuel?
That or at least I don't think he pitted during the yellow. He may have just gotten out like in the low 10s, but I mean he was so early up into the top 5 again that I don't think he did. That's a quick tire stop by the looks of things.
Yeah, maybe it was just right size.
Yeah, possibly. I mean he's back out in 6th, which is what looks to be just off the lead lap.
Just a lap down. You have to fight pretty hard to get that one back.
Certainly, but new tires could very well give him some pretty high speed now, but it's one of those we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, that it seems. Also seems like maybe Mikey is starting to break out the lead a little bit, because he's starting to bust out a bit more of a gap on Jakes and Janik and Hackman. These top four.
Dearie me. Jakes just had a bit of a scab. David Saber with a bit of a dodgy internet connection just blipped right in front of him.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed during practice and such this morning, or well, I guess afternoon for the European folks. But he was blinking in and out a little bit. I had a couple scary moments with him just appearing in front of me. So,
well, one of the other beautiful things with sim racing, where sometimes the internet connection will play tricks on you.
oh, Hackman's all over the
Wow.
rear of Janik.
Let's see if he can get a run off this corner here.
He's not going to get a run here. He's going to have to start setting him up now if he's want to try and maybe get him next time around into 3 or around the outside. Around the outside, almost.
It very much looks like Hackman is a little bit quicker in clean if he were to get by Yannick, but it's definitely.
Oh, is he gonna get him? He's gonna get him.
Oh,
Is he gonna get him?
He's trying to pick with Miller's Volstedt ahead of him, but not able to do it. But I mean, it definitely looks like, wow, that's a dive and a half.
Oh, Janik's washing up. Is Hackman gonna come up on the inside?
I think the dirty air got to Hackman there, but it looks like in clean air, Hackman is probably quicker, but getting past the car around this track is very difficult.
He's gonna have to try and make a move around the outside, because it seems Janik's keeping that inside closed.
Indeed, and I must say, Miller with some 360 vision have very, very heads up to be able to spot both Yannick going for the dive up the inside to lap him, and the fact that Hackman was trying to look up the inside later in the turn as well.
Yes, that was quite astute driving from Dave Miller there. Oh, as one car disappears in front of Hackman. Janik. No, David Saber's out.
Oh dear,
No. I was mistaken. I saw the DNF next to Santo's name and thought it was Saber.
One of those mistakes that can very easily happen. I wonder if Hackman is running the tires hot trying to get past him, so he has to hold back for a few laps and then try again later on in the run, because now he's dropped back a half a second or so, trying to get some clean air on the front wing, I wonder.
Sometimes sometimes it's just one of those things where it's, you're trying for so many laps to try and make a move, and either you need to cool it off a bit, or maybe he's just trying to set himself up for maybe to get a good run out of the exit of maybe 2 or 4. But yeah, Mikey Grimes, wow, he's definitely run away with this at this point, unless something quite catastrophic happens.
Well, it's one of those. It's never over until the fat lady sings. And,
yeah, it ain't over till the checkered flag's out and your car's in the pit lane.
Indeed, that's definitely one of the things I've learned with racing. You can never 100% confirm you're going to win before you cross the finish line. Up into 7th right now is Bruno Chacon, so well inside the top 10 here. Definitely having a good streak of finishes is the Brazilian gentleman.
Yeah, it'll be a good scrap to see if he can close in on Fredriksson, because I'm looking on his onboard, and I don't know. Do I see a blue blip out there at the end of the straightaway? Maybe.
It's 17.5 seconds, so possibly the full straight, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a bit more than that.
I think it's
About 17 seconds. That'd be about 3/4 of the way around the track.
Okay.
Or not 3/4, about 2/3. But yeah. Still, it seems the fight is with Hackman and Janik.
Certainly so, and Saber runs very high to try and get out of the way. Nicely done. Yep, looks like Grems has definitely turned up the wick there and pulled away, so...
Maybe he's saved enough fuel and now he can turn up the boost a bit.
I suppose so.
It might be a little... Oh, go ahead.
Let's see, I noticed there's a lapped car here, so maybe Hackman can finally get a pick on Yannick, but looks like Hackman is a bit too far back here to make any use of the lapped car.
We'll see. Friedrichsen's just going to give it up. Fair play, fair play.
Yeah, he's a very, very fair driver, very heads-up driver, so I'm not surprised he knew both of them were coming up and that they were in a battle.
I'll say I did have quite the good battle with those two, Janik and Friedrichsen at Michigan earlier this year. That was quite a fun race, if I say so myself. Getting to lead a little bit and having it thrown away.
Oh, here comes Hackman.
Oh, Hackman up the inside, out the inside.
Oh, Roja.
Oh, he split Roja.
Wow.
Oh.
That's a late race battle for you right there. When you see drivers splitting another car, that's like
that's getting chippy.
I'm getting flashbacks of Schumacher versus Hakkinen in.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. Hakkinen, Schumacher, and Zonta going down the Kendall Straight.
Only difference was there wasn't a change for position. Here was just a driver holding on to the position, but it's still just as crazy.
Oh man. Oh, Hackman getting something. I wonder if he'd be able to try the outside line and maybe try.
Ray Vidal has retired. Oh, with a big crash as well. Oh dear, that's a
shame.
Oh no. Looks like he had a run-in with David Saber. Oh, he did indeed. Aye. Well, that's very, very unfortunate.
That's a shame.
And that's one of those, not really Saber's fault either. It's just the way the internet connection is sometimes where it may play up.
That's that net code.
Quite so.
Oh, round the outside! Almost! It's like Hackman can get up to Brian Janik's right rear, and then through the middle of through the entrance to the middle of the corner, Hackman has it on Janik, but Janik has it on the exit.
I think it's the four-cylinder Offenhauser engine that is in the back of Yannick's car. It's
got
really
the torque
pulling him
coming
along.
out.
Yeah.
Got that mid-range.
Of course, we can clearly see Hackman has a slightly higher top speed coming into the turn, and possibly a better chassis for the higher speed on the entry. But then just the balance of the Eagle chassis and the torquey low-range power of the Offenhauser is just giving Yannick much. Oh, here he goes!
He's got it! Almost.
It's a case of he needs to enter the turn so quick and hope it sticks around outside for Hackman. I don't think that is going to happen.
No, he's going to need to really send it in around the outside if he's going to want a chance of getting around Janik.
That'll get a pick in traffic.
Yeah, but it seems that Janik's been able to maneuver his way very well and just leave that door closed on Hackman.
Well, that is one thing that I noticed Yannick is very, very good at, like the management of traffic on ovals. Very similar to how David Yates is very often very, very good at managing traffic as well, both on ovals and on road courses, where you can, at least when I drive, he comes up behind you and you can see he knows, well, I can't really lap you, I'll just hold back this corner and then I'll get you on the exit, or here I can actually go up the inside of you, and I'll go up the inside and I know I can make the lapping work and get on with my work. in my race, and you can get on with yours.
Thinking man's driver.
Hmm.
And that is these cars and these tracks, and in a nutshell, it is a thinking man's game. And I guess if you can think harder than the other guy, you may just well end up in front of him. Oh yeah,
He is trying again.
he's trying.
Oh, he doesn't quite have the overlap. If he gets the overlap, I think that's when he can actually start really getting at it. But he's running out of laps. There's only 14 laps left in this race.
Yeah, he's definitely running out of time. You'd almost wonder if you could maybe try and dummy it up the inside and hope he runs wide.
And I think that's what he just did.
Oh, did he get it, or he's just gonna wash up high?
We could have a good run on the turn. He has an overlap. He has an overlap. This
Oh,
is
he's
it.
got an
This is
overlap.
it. This is where he needs to either. Oh, look at that. Oh, he dives up the inside. This is where. I would say he needs to do the cutback. But I mean, he's running round outside. Wow.
Oh, this is good racing. Oh, he got him.
Wow.
Good stuff.
What a
Good
move.
stuff.
That was tremendous, and look at that, just pull straight away from Yannick. As I thought, he's so much quicker in clean air, but he just couldn't get this way past.
No, that was a good move. That was really well done.
Yeah, and look at that, only 3 seconds up to Jake, so he can get second in this race if he really has some pace in that car left over.
We'll see. It'll definitely be an interesting fight. Yeah, that'll...
Bit balk behind Bujardo. Just one of those situations that happens, but I mean, even with that, it looks like he is catching up to Yakes already. If only by a little bit. But that was a tremendous move. That was absolutely
That was
amazing.
fantastic. That was worth price of admission.
Certainly so. That's one of those for the ages. It reminds me of, like, yeah, it's reminiscent of a couple of moves at the Indy 500 last month, and the actual Indy 500 this year, where I noticed a couple of runs around outside into turn 1.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be up at turn 3, and I just gotta appreciate the opportunity to actually be back at the track.
That's awesome.
Not to detract from this, because this is actually coming down to be, well, it seems to be Mikey Graham's win. Don't wanna do the commentator's curse, but Hackman is closing down on Jake's a bit.
Looks like, unfortunately, while that was going on, Raul Yareb has disconnected from the race, so that's another retirement. So David Saber could get up to 13th here, and 14th in a lap or so.
Yeah, be a very good, well, I don't really necessarily call it good, but drag it to the finish and get some points.
I generally call it a recovery drive.
I mean, that's not there, it'd probably be the same.
Right, so, and Dave Miller soldiering on in that Volstead up to 12th right now.
Yeah, I mean, in 11th, Luciano Roja, I had a decent scrap with him before I decided to just say, yeah, I'm done. I had a decent scrap with him, and I'm quite impressed with him in 11th. He's putting that Watson up there.
And that's a very nice drive, especially for that Watson run here. I wouldn't think this is a particularly good track for that chassis.
In reality, it's quite a nimble chassis. When I was driving it, I quite liked it. I had a good time in it at Phoenix. Before I blew my engine, which seems to be a common occurrence. But it's a really nice driving car. I had fun in it before blowing up at Texas earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. I had a good finish in 10th at Ontario with it. It's a nice car if you can get it to work right. And it seems like Luciano is doing just that.
Quite so. And he isn't that far.
He's a lap behind, boss.
A few laps behind, but he's still holding Dave Miller back here. A couple of seconds, 2.5 seconds behind him is Miller, so doesn't look like that will be a
be
position here.
scrap.
Oh, it looks like, was that smoke up on the wall? Can't see anyone that seems to be up there, so suppose everyone survived that. Only 1.5 seconds now between Hackman and Yates in the battle for second and third, so
Yeah,
Hackman could have a
been
last lap opportunity here to try and get second position in this race.
yeah, he's gonna have to have an almighty drive here these last 4 laps.
I think it's 4 laps right now, and he's 1.1 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's got him in his sights. He's closing in on him through 1 and 2.
It's one of those, as soon as you see the car you're chasing, that is
Oh,
such,
yeah.
that is such an inspiration and such a carrot
Oh,
for you to
it's
chase.
such a good feeling. It's like if you're chasing somebody down and it's like, okay, there's a little dot at the end of the straightaway, and like a couple times around, it's like, okay, I'm a little closer to that dot. It's less of a dot and more of a car.
Wow,
Now
look
he's
at
got
that.
his vision full of it.
Nearly a second he
Oh,
pulled in
he's-
that lap. He is so much quicker than Yates.
Oh yeah, he closed in big through 1 and 2 there.
Now it's just a case of, can he make his way past? We saw how hard he
Oh,
had to
around the
work
outside, or he's gonna make another route move around the outside.
on. Surely not.
Oh, he's got a wiggle.
Surely not.
Oh,
quite.
he's gonna try. He's gonna try.
Well, he's got 2 more opportunities. 2 laps to go.
Oh, come on. Sorry to root for Adam here, but I'm just hoping he makes this move because that's so exciting.
Looks like he's setting him up for a last lap opportunity here. Trying to get a run off this corner right here.
Square him up. Can't
Nicely
square him.
balanced, but ooh, not quite.
Ah,
As they head
it's
on to
gonna
the
be
final
close.
lap.
It's gonna be close.
Definitely so, as I'm just going to follow Mikey as he comes through the back straight and into 3 and 4. As it looks like Mikey will now be able to coast the 10-second lead he has, and he takes another win, his 3rd win in the championship. Fantastic drive by Adam. That is absolutely
Mikey.
tremendous.
Yeah, fantastic drive by Mikey, but Adam here, trying to move around the outside at the end and just
not quite.
barely didn't get it. Oh,
That's a very decent push to try and make it work, though. So
he had a heck of a run there at the end, trying to make that work. And I think I'd be bummed that I didn't get second there, but man, was that a good race.
for sure, that's really nice. Last 14, 15 laps for Hackman. So Yates picks up second with Hackman in a very, very good drive into third. Yannick still, even though he, within quotation marks, only get 4th, that's a fantastic drive from him. Schlapinski gets a possibly disappointing 5th. Ferguson gets 6th position here, which I think he won't be too unhappy with. Chacon picks up 7th, I think he'll be happy with that. Whited finishes 8th with Lacina in 9th. Juha Bors finishes 10th with Luciano Roja in 11th. Dave Miller brings the Volstedt home in 12th with Jules Bouchard in 13th. David Saber soldiers on to get a 14th place finish in this race. Really good recovery drive. Raul Jereb was the first of our retirees in 15th, Ray Riddle 16th, Santos 17th, Olsen 18th, Dalacella 19th, Scherer 20th, with White 21st, Watring 22nd, Michiels 23rd, Fitch 24th, and he was our final runner, as Michael Grems has just been doing a few donuts by the looks of things.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's just putting it against the wall and burning it down. Way to go, man. Let's go. Yeah, he's just gonna burn it down.
I don't think the team will be too happy with that, but
they'll be fine. They can make another offer. They're cheap. They're cheaper than a Cosworth, at least.
I suppose so. Oh, I completely forgot the trivia question. So, well, didn't have time. So let's actually do this. We'll have a quick look at the trivia question, then we will have a few important messages, and then after those messages are over, we will hopefully have a couple of post-race interviews coming your way. But before that time, the trivia question for tonight was, during a race at Milwaukee, which of the following drivers had a 360-degree spin on the front stretch and went on to win? Was it A, Alonso Jr.? Was it B, Danny Sullivan? Or was it C, Mario Andretti? The answer coming after these very important messages.
When the automotive industry shop... Have you ever wondered where major industries do their shopping? When the automotive industry shops for car thermostats. When the aircraft industry shops for lightweight special metals. When the leisure time industry shops for true temper golf shafts and garden tools. When a number of industries shop for gases and chemicals, they're all drawn to one source. The source? Allegheny Ludlam Industries, the supermarket.
Channel created.
There are lots of batteries out there making all kinds of claims, performing all kinds of demonstrations. We simply say this: the J.C. Penney battery is so powerful, it's warranted for as long as you own your car. If it ever fails to accept and hold a charge, return it with proof of purchase. We'll replace it, free. And it never needs water,
User
ever.
joined your channel.
It's the last battery your car will ever need.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans present An American Tragedy. Nothing is so useful as the car, but many Americans misuse it. Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans are working to hold the cost of health care down. So stay fit. Walk when you don't need to drive. Together, we can keep the cost of health care from being driven even higher.
Professional tennis player Joanne Russell. You know what she finds stimulating? Stamp collecting.
After my dad got me started, I got really excited about U.S. commemoratives. There are so many colorful subjects I can collect. They're fun, they're history, they're America. I buy new stamps at the post office all the time. Half the fun is keeping my collection up to date.
Start your collection with the 1978 mint set of commemoratives at your post office now.
And we are back here at the Wisconsin State Fair Park for what hopefully will be a couple of post-race interviews. But before we get to that, let's actually have a look at the trivia question that we had for this race. And just to remind you, the question was, during a race at Milwaukee, which of the following drivers had a 360-degree spin on the front stretch and went on to win? Was it A, Al Unser Jr.? Was it B, Danny Sullivan? Or was it C, Mario Andretti? We've got August Watring with us, and we got our race winner, Mikey Grams, with us. Any ideas on what the answer could be for this one?
I'm drawing a blank. I'm gonna go ahead and say B for Danny Sullivan since he had the spin and win at Indianapolis. I'm guessing I'm wrong, but I like Danny Sullivan. Danny Sullivan's a good dude.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'll go with Mario.
And unfortunately, both of you are wrong. It is A, Al Unser Jr., who
Wrong.
quite, who had that
1990.
incident in 1990, to be precise on the year.
Well, there you go.
I have to say, I got it wrong as well when I saw the question for the first time. So yeah, that was a fantastic race to watch. How was it from your point of view, Mikey? Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, Dave Jakes, Brian Janik. Got a good group going there. Good train going there. It was a good race. I never expected that. The way the right front was overheating, the way it was pushed as soon as it started to. But just kept it under control. It came back halfway through the run. It was nice. It's good.
Yeah, you seem to be in control of really anything that was being thrown at you. You know, during the early part of the race, you're quite comfortable behind Jake's, while most everybody else is getting strung out.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get away. I couldn't catch him. I couldn't pass him. I think maybe his tires were burning up quicker than mine, saving fuel.
Certainly
yes,
sounds
really surprised.
Yes, I know Dave was talking before the event that he was struggling. So, as August says, that it might have been that very reason that his tire went off faster than yours. Obviously, this was your second, what I suppose we could call short track win. I'm a bit interested. Do you feel more at home at the short tracks, or is it just the car and the chassis and engine combination that's really working well on these tracks? So, what are your take on that situation?
Yeah, I think it's the chassis. It's way better suited to the short track. Everybody just goes away on the super speedways, and you can just see it on the straightaways, even on the short tracks. Everybody pretty much drives away, but as soon as I enter the corner, I can hold it down there, and everybody kind of pushes up.
So then, seeing as the next event is the Schäfer 500 at Pocono, that's presumably an event then that you think you might not do as well at as you did here.
Yeah, I'm thinking that'll be a struggle. Yeah, I'll be lagging behind. Just wait for everybody else's issues, I guess. Hopefully not a blow up.
Yeah, the offie will definitely be is definitely a struggle on the bigger tracks. So hopefully you can hang it up in there. I'd like to see it personally. I mean, even though I'm a competitor of yours, I'm been really impressed with your driving, and I hope you do well, man.
Thanks, August. Yeah, it's just going to be a motor struggle, I think, keeping the temps under control, which is going to be a struggle to keep up, you know?
Yeah, I hope I can get the chassis working. The Cosworth gives me enough power, but the chassis I seem to struggle with a bit. So we're still learning.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see that, and thank you once again both to August for joining me for a bit of color commentary, and Mikey for joining us for this post-race interviews. Congratulations once again on your win there, Mikey. Really,
Yeah,
really
congrats,
impressive.
man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, ISO. It's awesome having me. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. So, yeah, just a quick look at what is coming up here at ISO, and then we will be tailoring off this
User left
this
your
here
channel.
broadcast. So next weekend, I think that ought to be. Yep, next Sunday we have the at
Shell
10,
Oil's
20,
British
30,
Grand Prix.
39th Shell Oil's British Grand Prix. I had to count that. Coming to you from the Brands Hatch GP layout, that is promising to be an absolute stonker of a race.
That will be definitely a fun one.
Certainly, the track is so difficult to drive in those F1 cars, but the challenge is absolutely right up there with any other track I've been on. It's really good fun. So Jason White will be with you in the booth for that one. So that's promising to be a really good event all round. And then on June the 20th, in 2 weeks' time, we're heading to Pocono for the Schäfer 500 in the 1978 USAC Championship, the next round of this, and once again 1,000 points available for the winner of that 500-mile race. That too, I reckon, is going to be a fantastic race. Pocono is among the, probably, at least to me, 3 best oval tracks that's out there. All round.
I mean, I've definitely quite enjoyed Pocono. I've enjoyed it in other sims. I've enjoyed it in real life. It's a shame the relationship it has with IndyCar at the moment, because I really wish they were still able to hold 500-mile races there. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, I think.
It's definitely promising to be one, because that track is all about compromise, and as we know from Trenton, when there's compromise, everything can happen.
Oh, everything goes out the window. So it'll be a good fight. Hopefully folks can find a good balance in their car, like you say, a good compromise, and we can have a good one, put on a good show.
Certainly so, and yeah, with that, any final thoughts on this here event here at the Wisconsin State Fair Park?
No, I'm actually I was quite happy with the race. I enjoyed the battles. I quite enjoyed the fact that you allowed me to come up into the booth for my first time, and I just really enjoyed this whole thing. I can't say how much I appreciate it enough.
Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for all your insights. It's very useful. I'm very thankful that you wanted to join me for this one. And I would say for my final thoughts, overall, very hectic race, which saw some fantastic moves, especially from Hackman late on in the race. That was absolutely
Oh, that
tremendous.
was absolutely fantastic. I was on the edge of my seat watching that.
That's definitely what it's all about, seeing those kind of moves and situations. And yeah, I suppose with that, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as me and August enjoyed, in August's case, both racing and watching this race. In my case, watching and commentating on the race. And I hope we all see you back here next weekend for the 39th Shell Oil's British Grand Prix for the 1986 F1 Championship. But until then, take care of yourselves, everyone. Have a great week, and see you all in 7 days' time. Good night, everyone.
Good night.